Visual recipes, so I thought it would be really cool to show you how to make my stuffed cabbage dolma step by step. I'm heating up some oil in my cast iron skillet, and I'm just going to throw in 1 large yellow onion, as well as 1 tablespoon of allspice. I'm stirring it all together, and you'll immediately smell how fragrant the allspice is getting. I want the onions to become translucent, but I don't want them to brown. It's been about 2 to 3 minutes and the onions are done. Now we're going to make the filling. Here's the cooked onions, a 1/4 cup of olive oil, parsley, cilantro, tomato, rinse and drain chickpeas, the rice that's soaked, drained, it's just white rice, allspice, and salt. I needed 2 hands, but I threw in the onions, the tomatoes, the cilantro, the parsley. Now I'm going to throw in the chickpeas, a teaspoon of allspice, a tablespoon of salt, and a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now I'm going to mix it together using my hands. So I'm just mixing it all together, and I want to squish some of the chickpeas so that they're not all whole. Here's the final product. I tasted to see if I needed to adjust seasoning. It's going to taste a little bit salty, but don't worry, I promise it won't be salty when it's cooked. It's just going to help the cabbage sweat. I covered and put the filling in the fridge so we could focus on the cabbage. I peeled the outer leaves, and now we're going to cut off the stem and cut about a 1-inch deep hole, the diameter of the stem. I'll show you. I cut off another piece of the stem, and now you got to use a sharp knife, and I'm just going around, cutting a hole, there it goes, and then pushing up, and you can see the core starts coming out. The deeper and wider I can go, the better, because you actually want these leaves to easily come off in the water. So it'll make your life easier if you're just able to get as much of the core out as possible. I just keep going around. This is the final product. You can see I tried to cut as much around as I could. This is how deep it is. And this is everything that came out. Now I'm just putting a pot of water on the stove. I put the stove on high, and the water's just room temperature, and I put the cabbage stem side down. And I'm going to watch it closely. Just as soon as the water starts to boil, I'm going to start peeling back the leaves. I'll show you. So the cabbage has been in the water for like 15 minutes. The water started boiling, I touched it, it's hot. And now I'm going to just flip it on its side, and I'm going to try and just peel these leaves. It ripped a little, but that's okay. I'm starting with the most outer leaf, and see I'm pulling it back, and look, it pulls right off. You can see it's flexible now, and I put it in the strainer, and I just keep going. If I flip it with the stem side up, I could see which leaves are coming off. This is why the cutting portion was so important, because look how easy it makes this step. I just pull it off, there goes another one. See how flexible? Here's an example where, see, this one's open, but these are still connected. So, because I didn't go around far enough on this, but that's why you have the knife. So I'm just gonna cut and then peel. I've now flipped it so the stem side is back down so it can continue, the hot water can continue cooking it. And remember, the heat is off now. As soon as I start peeling, I turn off the heat. But see, now I can peel from this side. So I've gotten to the point where the stem is sticking out, so I'm just using my knife to cut it off so I can just keep going. And I'm going to save this part, and we're going to put it at the bottom of the pot. It'll soak up all the flavor. If I'm finding that as I'm peeling back the leaves, some aren't as flexible as I'd like, I just peel them and leave them in the water to soften for about a minute, and then they'll become just as flexible as I need them to. I'm at the point now where these leaves are too small to roll. So this is the part where I said you keep it, because at the bottom of the pot, you put a lot of olive oil so it doesn't burn, and you lay these down and all the juices go into it. I've emptied the pot out and now I have olive oil. I'm gonna do a generous coat of olive oil so the bottom doesn't burn. And then I'm gonna lay those scraps that I couldn't use. I made all the pieces as flat as possible, and just to give you an idea, these are the pieces I didn't use because the core is still attached, so no matter how much it cooks, that's going to be tough to eat. So any part with the core you don't use. Now that it's time to roll, this is what my station looks like. I have the filling, I have the leaves. I'm going to show you a small, medium, and large leaf, and then I have the pot with the olive oil and the scraps at the bottom. Starting with the large leaf, you can see this leaf is too big and the stem is going to be too hard no matter how long you boil. So we actually can slice these into two. We're cutting off the stem. You don't want it. We're just going to get rid of this. Now we're going to actually make this two different rolls because the leaf is so big. And we're going to grab some filling. Remember, the rice is going to expand. Now I'm folding over. I can tuck in this side, so I will. I can't tuck in this, so that's okay. And then I'm just gonna roll. That's it. Same thing with the second half of the large leaf. Going over, tucking in if I can, and rolling. Now let's look at a medium leaf. This is when we're going to do the upside down V method, where we cut just the hard part of the stem just at the bottom and toss it. And then same thing, filling, roll, tuck in. With a small leaf, you do the same upside down V method if there's a hard stem, except there isn't going to be room to tuck in the sides, so you just roll it right over. If as you roll, filling falls out, which it likely will, which is okay, it's okay. You just hold it and put it back in, and then put it in the pot. I've done a few, so now I'm going to put them into the pan in a circular pattern. I find it easier to roll one and then put it in the pan and then roll another and put it in the pan, just so they don't fall apart and I can easily follow this circle pattern. Now that we're done rolling, we're going to make the paste. I don't have crushed tomatoes, but I do have these diced ones, so I just blended up 1 can. Then I'm going to add some tamarind. This is the brand I'm using. If you haven't used tamarind before, it's this sweet, sour fruit. And I just got a concentrate. We're going to do 4 tablespoons, and then we're also going to add 2 cups of water. This is the last tablespoon of tamarind, and then I'm just going to mix it all together. This is 2 cups of water, 1 can of crushed tomatoes, or if you don't have crushed, just blend them up. Blend up diced tomatoes, and then 4 tablespoons of tamarind. I know you're tired of allspice, but then 1 more teaspoon of allspice, and then a pinch of sea salt, just to taste. I'm gonna pour the sauce evenly over the dolmas, and then I'm gonna take a plate that fits inside the pot and push it down. Then I'll cover it with a lid. Put the heat on high for 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes, so I'm putting the heat on medium-low for 30 to 40 minutes. It's been about 40 minutes. You can see it simmering. It smells amazing. I'm going to take out one of the largest dolmas so I could taste and make sure it's cooked, and obviously take out the plate. Look how beautiful. I took one out and it's cooling, and I'm actually going to taste the sauce. I usually opt to add lemon because I like it sour, but that's completely optional. How soft you like the cabbage is kind of up to you, but I'm okay with the way it is now, you can see it becomes kind of transparent. And this filling is so flavorful. I'm gonna add some lemon juice. Again, I like things really sour, but it depends what kind of tamarind you have. Some are more sour than others. The kind I got isn't as sour as I prefer. It's very important to flip the pot into some sort of, I'm using a baking sheet, but some sort of pan, because all the sauce is on the bottom. So we want it to all go to the top. The sauce has now covered all of the dolmas. That's why that step is so important, even if you're not eating it right away. And if you look at the bottom of the pot, it always burns a little bit, but these little pieces are my favorite. They're so flavorful. If you lift a piece up, I mean, look at that. See, it's browned and the sauce is kind of burned onto it a little bit, but it's just crisp. It doesn't taste burnt. And that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you make it, please let me know.